Well, I don't want to anyway. Just a triple X shirt. Coming here, I don't care. Got a ton of triple X. It's been more quite good.
And we're broadcasting.
We're on. You said Facebook Live.
Well, right now we're on Zoom. And see, I can now take this and pan over and go down and pick that up, and it's all stabilized.
Anybody on?
I don't know yet because I haven't logged in elsewhere.
I saw that you announced it, and I was expecting Eastern sometime as well. Norman, might be.
Okay. Well, it's not quite 7 o'clock yet, and Stan is setting things up. So.
I was very first interested in my Thursday. Everybody else has classes. Yeah. First they told me, that's what I'm doing. And eat lunch. So they see classes. So I finally convinced them. I said, "Look at all this technology. Why can't we use it?" And I finally convinced them, and they said, "Okay, but you're going to have to prove to it that you can use Slido." So I took like a one-day course.
Hey, Mike. Keep going.
I took like a one-day course or a one-day thing just so I could, add and subtract on Slido.
That's funny. I used a Slido
Streaming
originally, and I used to have a little round thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. And one guy said to me, he says, "Well, what happens for everything? What happens if your battery runs out?" I said, "What happens if you set up your function?" It was a lot of fun. But I took it, and back then the keys were taped. So you get a nice click, 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 click.
Yeah.
And it drives them nuts because they're in there with their silent slide balls and I'm
Well, I tell you, I did enjoy it when they got it.
Yeah, but they're actually the Robertson. What did you say, Robertson screws up? Square drive? Oh, I use that. They call them Robertson, actually. This is kind of like
I've seen this one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Seen this one?
I have 2 or 3 of them that I did use the screws they set up.
Food's on. Okay.
No political comments.
Yeah, going to Catalina would be a little catastrophic.
Yeah.
The main thing is you see a wall, parents are going to be there. You're just going to be there. And, she enjoyed the gym. Get to the house every year. And you get to see all that out. And they got to pack it and then they pack their car.
A good one.
Yeah, they shoot their car back, flat full, or a driver full of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, Molly don't love it. So, yeah, I use these a lot when I was, well, I got the, I put it in the shaft. Yeah, when I used to commercially install, I used them all the time. You get a sure bite, and you can stick them on the end without falling off. Great screws. Used all over the world except here.
Last time I
So the screws like
I mean, I use screws like that. Yeah, I got a bunch of it. You know, like when you replace, well, you don't. Say, trailer, when you replace.
Trailer industry got installed.
So, Huey, if you're hearing me, I don't see you.
I am. I got my camera off.
Okay, that's fine. Am I showing up on the center of your screen?
No, you're to the left of center.
Okay.
Now you're in the center.
Okay. On the screen of my phone, I see nothing but a tiny little icon. And then I'm seeing the tiny little window of me. Now, before you came on, the whole screen was full. Maybe if I say share my screen, no, I don't know if that's share screen or if that's share the meeting. Let me see. Hang on a second. Photo document Dropbox, Microsoft Drive, web URL, screen. Start now. Display over other apps. Okay. Back.
I'm hearing you. Your video froze
All right.
because you stopped using it.
Let me get back to Zoom.
I see your screen.
Oh. Well, why am I not seeing Zoom? Let me go to Zoom.
Well, because you only got so much screen space.
I'm gonna have a.
Okay, so now you're seeing what my screen looks like.
Well, that went away, and now I'm saying your Zoom information where it says start video, stop share.
Right. So what I wanted
before
to do
before I had all of your
actually
icons on the screen.
All right, let me try something different. Just a minute. Since Zoom is sharing my screen, let me go. Hang on a moment.
Now your screen is coming up. Now I see your screen. I see the icons, and I see Moza, and then now we're back to your video. But you're in horizontal mode, but it's portrait, so it's sideways.
Correct. I wanted the video to be sideways. Are you telling me that as you see it, it's rotated sideways?
Yes.
So you don't just see Ted.
I'm saying that the timer at the bottom and icons on the left instead of on the bottom, and it's
Folks, it just turned 7 o'clock. We shall begin. And when you're talking,
so it's
I've got
the wrong
you,
way.
and it's the wrong way. So I gotta try something else. Hang on.
okay.
You go ahead, Stan.
Okay, a couple of very quick announcements.
Julie.
Julie.
Jolie.
Okay, I saw that you were thinking about coming, and welcome.
Hi.
So it's on Meetup.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, just a couple of quick announcements. Yesterday, I spent almost two and a half hours at my hearing aid provider. They did a complete
Now I see your icons, and they kept switching, and now I'm back to your.
And understanding warrants, that sort of thing, readjusted them, all part of a 3-year warranty. And supposedly they're better. We'll find out. And the other thing, I see your lips moving, Bob.
Just want to make sure.
The other thing I spent some time on the last 2 meetings, I am on either side of the belly button, they put in 1 and then decided, no, we don't want to do it that way. So I now have 5 holes in various circumference, and they're a little sore, and I'm not using my cardio glide yet, but I'm doing my exercise on my air bike. I'm feeling much better, and everything's worked out. So why don't we start over there Forrest, you often don't have a lot, nothing today. Chuck, are you eating anything?
I'm not eating.
Not yet, okay. You got anything to share with us? Jolie, this is not an organized meeting. We don't have a speaker. I'm the leader of the group.
Okay.
Whatever you want to call it. But we just go around the room sharing gadgets, new things we've tried, experiences, problems, whatever. So we'll just go around the room and, you know, stay longer with some folks and others. And Paul, you got anything for us?
Nothing really too exciting. Nothing new. My life the last 2 months has been wrapped up on doing a major airplane repair. But my wife's computer, her MacBook Pro, has crapped out and died. It's over at Patrick's right now. And it looks like repairs are more than it's worth. So we'll be getting a newer model MacBook Pro, and hopefully she'll get on the road again. But it's got bad video, a VRAM video chip is bad, and that requires the motherboard to be replaced, and the cost of repair and parts are just more than the computer's worth. So that's about it for me.
Okay. Well, pretty early to call on you, so we'll let you get a better
Okay,
feel.
thank you.
And you're eating, Gary, so
Give me a minute.
Ted.
Call on Ted.
Yeah, let me finish.
Yeah. Ted, what did you bring?
Anybody seen this ad in the paper? World's easiest to use computer designed especially for seniors.
You brought that in
Look at the
before.
price.
That's not a Windows computer. It's Linux, about $900,
It's a lot of money.
rip off.
Got one button says call your son-in-law.
I didn't buy one. That's it.
Mike, can you
Yeah, I can
tell us what's going on with
I can make this switch to me by pressing a button, I think. Okay. It's kind of hard for me to show anybody who's watching what I brought with me today, but I bought this because I was going to a 2-day car show over the weekend, and I wanted to take videos, and I didn't want constant shaking of my hand while I was holding the phone taking videos. And about 3 weeks ago, I bought a single axis stabilizer from Amazon. And all a single axis stabilizer does is keep the rotation of the phone steady. But this one, if you watch the head of the camera as I pan up, notice it's keeping its vertical orientation. Pan down, go to the right, go to the left, and it has a trigger on it where if I really do want to look down and say, look at the screen of my notebook, I squeeze the trigger, which locks it in vertically, and now I'm actually, and if I switch this so it's out front, come on, switch. Give me a moment, folks, while I,
What's the brand and price for you?
there we go. So now I'm looking down at my notebook, and now I can scroll back up. Now, brand and price is the question. So here is the brand is Moza. Well, let's see if it shows up on the screen. M-O-Z-A. I did actually send an email out this afternoon before coming with the Amazon link, and the price is about $70.
Prime overnight?
It's overnight. Yeah, it's very quick. It has a ton of features that I have yet to figure out. Everything, you can go ahead and pass that around if you like. And I think I have, yeah, I do have the usual manual in 5 languages and tiny, tiny little print. They have a getting started pamphlet, which is some help. And then they have more getting started, which is hopefully more help. And then they have the manual with the detailed instructions. Process lasso, I'm not broadcasting to the screen. No, I'm just streaming for anybody that comes in. So Stan, if you join the meeting by the link that was sent out to the TechSIG, then it would be on the screen. All right, and I'll pass these around if you want to look at it.
Are you saying it's okay for me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll see. You might have to mute your microphone so we don't get. So it comes with an app. I have the app running in the background right now. And the app allows me to change the tilt. If it's going to go, there it goes. I can tilt it and pan it. I can pan to the right. I can pan to the right. So that's all under control of the app once you've connected by Bluetooth.
You put your left foot in, your left foot out.
That's correct. Somehow or other, this is supposed to do telephoto, and I don't see it. I don't see it zooming. So it may be I still haven't figured it all out yet.
Is it a rechargeable battery?
It is. You can see that it's showing a blue light. Most of this handle is battery, and there are 2 battery icons if I go to the app, and the 2 battery icons, I guess there are 2 of them sitting in there. There's a motor in the center. There's a motor on the top here, and there's a motor round and back. So that way you get your rotation. Now, I almost always did my Facebook Live in the portrait mode. And everybody used to tell me, yeah, you've got to be in portrait mode for Facebook Live. And so you have a very narrow view. And until recently, maybe it's the latest update, I'm not sure, but I did Google it and they said, oh, just start streaming Facebook Live in landscape and it'll be in landscape. So I did try Facebook Live with this mount. Again, I put the app on first, then I went to Facebook Live. And the biggest problem I had was the Wi-Fi and the cellular data at the Lakeland Linder Airfield, where the 2-day car show was being held, was very spotty. So if you are streaming your video, let's see the waiting room. I got to let people in. Admit all.
Are there any remote functions?
Now I'm going to hear. I guess. Okay, please mute your microphone. Let's see, CFCS, I'm going to mute you. Mute. I just muted you. Yep. Okay, I muted you. The question is there a remote? Since the phone is here, obviously, I can't take the phone and remote control it. The original 1-axis gimbal, this whole panel lifted off and was connected by Bluetooth, and you can have it as a remote. So this particular one doesn't. There are others out there, I believe, that have remote control. And
Let me ask a question.
Yep.
Anytime you watch some of these YouTube producers, people that put up a lot of YouTube videos, it's obvious they're using their cell phone to do a lot of these videos.
right.
I always wondered how they do it, because when they're in front of the phone, obviously they're not touching the phone. And I just wondered if, that's something can be used for that purpose.
Okay, the answer is yes. You can obviously upload a video to YouTube anytime you want if you start it on your cell phone. If you want to live stream YouTube, you must apply to be a live streamer. And there are several levels of being a live streamer. The first level is live streaming from your computer only. A lot of good that's going to do you, but you can live stream. After you have gotten a certain number of followers on a regular basis, you can apply to live stream from your phone. So I still can't live stream on YouTube from my phone now, but I can from my notebook. And the way we were doing our live streaming previously, with me hooking a camera up to my notebook and having a microphone, I can live stream, but I'd have to get an audience. I have to prove to YouTube that I have followers. So.
As a viewer, and that is, unless somebody can tell me differently, when you go into a live stream, you're typically going to go in somewhere into the stream, like a half hour in or whatever. YouTube does not have a button saying start from the beginning.
When it's archived,
You can, but
Yeah, when it's archived.
but you can't join it from
I'm
the
saying,
beginning.
I
That's
wish
correct.
YouTube had a live stream where you can say, okay, I want to start from the beginning.
I agree with you.
So anyway, I thought maybe somebody had a trick. No, if it's archived, once it's done, that's the thing. A lot of times when I see a live stream, like, you know, there's been a lot of political stuff, live stream. Well, one of the things I do is I just wait until it's done archived. Because you can't, or you can sit there for a half hour trying to go backwards. Anyway, anyway.
For some of the tech stuff that I do on there, I've joined live stream, and they're actually two-way. And so, you know, the guy puts a window in, he's talking, he's showing what's going on, and you can do two-way. But it's not spoken, you have to type it.
yes, that's correct. Yes, you can. And that was the disadvantage that we discussed here, using YouTube live streaming versus using Zoom, because Zoom is two-way. I don't know if you heard me before. Huey was talking to me while Stan started the meeting, so I could hear him on the speaker of the phone.
Right.
And I just admitted 2 more people. Let me see if I press participants on here, if it's going to tell me. Norm Griffin's on and Huey's desktop is on. And I don't see CFCS. Were you able to get in, Stan?
Maybe that's frozen. I don't know.
No, that's somehow it turned on to my computer. I thought I plugged it in, but nothing happened for like 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what shows on the screen?
Okay, so that's all I have. Are you ready?
Are you food is
Gary?
here, so.
And Gary is ready.
Well, I just unplugged myself, so. Well, apparently when I plugged into HDMI, there was like a 2-minute time that I didn't go on. I thought I had to push the button to.
It's rebooted my computer, but that's me.
Well, normally I have to push this to change the source.
Oh, 2 of them, yeah, 1 more. Take the box too.
There we go, Ted. As long as you're there. Ted, over this side, this side.
Here's your advertisement.
Here's your advertising.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, you go ahead, Gary.
Okay, so I have these little things that were given to me by Terry. They're called AirPods. Okay, and I really love them, but today I learned a really cool trick. So I'm going to show it to you. I put it on photos.
I'm going to test these AirPods. And if you turn off automatic ear detect, you could actually use it and hold it. But anyway, I'm going to step off and see how far this Bluetooth can reach. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, pretty good distance. 20.
I transmitted to your phone.
That's just with this.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37,
Geez, came back in again.
40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46,
Wow.
48, 49, 50. Okay, that's 150 feet. I didn't think Bluetooth could do that. Anyway, I did use Bluetooth on that.
Yeah, we
And,
can go to it.
Can't register bringing dirt. For the concrete. Anyway. Have a lavalier microphone testing 1, 2, 3.
So, I didn't know it was even possible. But the ability to have a lavalier microphone wireless like this, it's just, I'm still learning new tricks with this thing. So other than that, I have a project I'm working on. I have, y'all know these timers you put on pool pumps and stuff like that. So I replaced Terry's with a brand new one several years ago, but I kept the old box. And she's been complaining that the switch, this thing here, she turn on and off. She doesn't use the timer part of it. She just uses a switch. So she has to go outside, put on her outdoor shoes, go around the pool to the other side of her corner where the pool pump is and switch. And she says, I sure wish I could turn it on and off from the inside of the house. Okay. So I got this thing.
We've only seen an inventor.
Yeah, call it that. So I got this thing on Amazon. I think it was like $15. And it is a dongle remote. Okay. And so she could have, it comes with 2 of these remotes. So she could just turn it on and off with a remote. But I thought, well, since we're in there, why don't we just add a Wemo, you know, because it's right near her router. And then this here is a contactor, so it takes all the heat and all the amps away from this and away from this. So anyway, so I just use glue dots to hold it in there.
So it's not 120 or.
It's 120.
What is powering?
Huh?
What is powering?
It's going to power a pool pump. Okay.
Choice, is it a 220 choice?
She doesn't know. It's been there for years. It's all 100%.
Just an empty box.
So that was an empty box. And so I thought, well, this would be really cool if she could have either a dongle or use her phone. And the Wemo app is really good for turning things on and off and scheduling and things like that. And if she's in bed and she realized, oh, I didn't turn the pool pump off, she could just, she's always on her phone anyway, so she could just turn it off with the Wemo app. So it should work out pretty good.
Then you was just a little bit, why doesn't she use the 2 trippers to the on and off?
She could, but
She could.
she could, and I installed it for her, and she has the cams to do that. But she prefers to flip the switch manually.
Okay, to each his own.
Okay, so.
When you use this in her house, she has to plug the pump in.
No, the contactor.
What's it? I mean,
No,
it's not plugged in.
no, so we're gonna leave her old timer is here. This box is also here. So we're gonna knock out the lug here and put a connector to her pool pump, leave her timer on all the time on that trip, and have the Wemo and have the dongle timer. Because the timer could, if she decides she wants to use the cams and the timer, she can use that too. So she has the option of timers, Wemo, and dongle. Either way.
The reason I'm asking is because I don't see that the Wemo was even plugged in.
No, I just stuck that with blue dots on styrofoam. You know, that has to be all hooked up.
Right, right.
So, but this is just the beginning. This is just, this is like within the last couple days,
What's the dongle device?
That was on Amazon. Where's the dongle? Did you get it? Do you have it to look at? No, you don't. Here.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good, and you get 2 of those.
Looks like from a
You get that and you also get the AC.
The contactor, that's good for 40 amps.
Now, what is the dongle married?
The dongle, whoops, what happened? The dongle
Is it control something?
is married to this.
Oh, to that, okay.
So power in, power out to the pump, or power to the contactor.
Yeah.
And then this will have power to the contactor also. And then there'll be a terminal block in here with screws, and then all the wiring will go to the terminal block. So it's a job in progress. Yeah, it should work out really nice. Other than that, some of us wear glasses, right? So I got these glasses, and they're like 6 months old. I absolutely love them. But they gave me the special cleaning solution. They gave me the special microcloth. And I'm starting to see little tiny scratches in it. So I went in and I says, well, I'm not complaining because the scratches are so tiny. She says, oh yeah, we call those angel hairs. I said, angel hairs? And she says, you're using the microcloth? I said, yes. She says, do you wash it? I said, yes. I put it in one of those, we call it delicates bag.
A lingerie bag.
Huh?
A lingerie bag?
Yeah, a lingerie bag, and then I put the microcloths in there and zip it closed and throw it in my laundry. She says, no. I says, what, it's the laundry bag? She says, no. The kind of detergents that you put in a washing machine actually has grit in it. It's part of the cleaning process. You need to use dishwashing soap like Kirkland or Dawn or Joy. She says that doesn't have grit in it. I thought I'd just share that with you guys because we don't want you to have angel hairs on your glasses, right? So
Was that in the care for your glass instructions?
no,
I want to read.
No, she ordered me a brand new pair of glasses under warranty. Yeah, I get them in 2 weeks.
As long as you got it for free, they don't tell you up front.
No. In fact, the warranty covers 2 more pairs.
Yes.
Dr. Yip on Alafaya, no, Alafaya Research Park. They have a thing called Luminlux technology. So most glasses are what they call analog, but these are digital. And so if I look at anything that's got, and I thought that sounds weird too, but she says, if you, because I'm in manufacturing, I deal with a lot of straight lines and tubing and aluminum, that the Luminlux, I'll always see straight lines no matter what. Where with all my other prescriptions that I got at Costco and other places, the lines sort of curve when you look down things. And these glasses don't do that. I see straight lines all the way. So it's, yeah, they're amazing. They're really amazing. They call them engineer glasses. Yeah, these are progressive.
I only use for an eye test.
For what?
An eye test.
Okay.
Where I take an FA, the flight physical, I take
Okay.
an eye test. And I can't pass it with contacts anymore.
Okay.
I can almost pass it, but I can't.
Mhm.
So I went out and got progressive. And the only time I use them a little bit around the house, but if I don't wear my contacts, which I have it in all the time, I went and I was complaining that I said,
Yeah.
But if you say everything is straight with that, that's really sounds cool.
They actually say they're digital, and I thought, well, how can that be digital? You know, and they said, no, it's a patented process that Lumilex only has. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, other than that, so I learned about this place, which is actually right down the street, Art Systems. And I've been getting some engineering drawings lately, you know, and they're like 24 inches by 36. FedEx, the printing center, wants almost $6 each for 24 by 36. These people are 96 cents. And they'll print up to a 60-inch by 36-inch wide for $1.96.
Art systems.
Art Systems.
They're down on 436.
Huh?
They're down on 436.
Yeah, just past Harbor Freight, just go down like 3 more blocks.
Yeah.
So other than that, there's one last thing I could share. And should I tell them the story about my neighbor?
Yeah.
Okay, this has really worked out. So my neighbor opens up his barbecue and a chicken flies out and hits him in the head, okay? So he has this barbecue that's like made from a fuel tank from a semi-trailer tractor, and he welded it, put hinges on it, you know? But he opened it up and this giant chicken flew out of it and hit him in the head and ran down his driveway. And I said, well, where'd the chicken come from? And he says, well, that's what I was wondering at the time. And he says, then I found out that it was my neighbor who gave it to me. He said, several days ago, he says, my wife came home, parked in the driveway, and his dog had jumped the fence and was biting all the tires all the way around the car and just chewing at the tires. And finally, vicious dog. So he called the guy that owned the dog, George, he calls the dog off. And so they come out and they say, George, man, you got to do something about your dog, you know? And he says, hey, how about if I compensate you? He says, if I give you any food, would you take it? And he says, well, sure. He says, well, I'm a trucker. I'm on the road most of the time, but I mostly truck food. And he says, how about if I just give you food, lay food on you for a while? And he says, okay. He comes over a couple of days later, and he's got 100 quarts of milk that he gives them, 25 gallons of milk. Well, then a couple of days later, the dog got into the chicken roost, and this guy raises giant chickens. They're like turkeys. The dog went in there and mauled one of the chickens in the evening, and Don and Paula had already gone to bed. So he's got this chicken. He goes, well, I don't want to put it in with the other chickens. Don and Paula said they'll take any kind of food, you know. So, you know, so he goes over to the backyard and he's looking like, where am I going to put this chicken? Where am I going to put this chicken? And he sees the barbecue and he opens up the barbecue, throws his wounded chicken inside the barbecue, closes the lid, and then takes off on a trucking job and doesn't even tell them until the next day when they open up the barbecue and here's this chicken inside the barbecue. So anyway, that's the chicken story of my neighbor. Empty. Normally you expect your barbecue to be empty. You don't expect life. He cooked the chicken. He actually did cook the chicken. He skinned it, feathers and all, he said. Good one. Okay, I'm done.
I'm still trying to recuperate. I think part of it was that I'm not sure if the battery got unplugged on this part. My machine was turning off. So
It's looking for you. You want me to hit 2 here?
yeah, please. Let me try.
It doesn't see him.
I'm not plugged in.
Oh, that helps. Yeah.
I unplugged it when we were having the issues, and now it should see me.
Yep, you got it.
If only we had a PC down
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody here know about computers?
One of those computers really should check, order something.
Yeah, you need a new computer. Ed's got it.
There's got a special, got a special deal there.
Most of us are seniors.
Only $900.
Oh, okay. Maybe we can get Andre to go and see. You touch it. Get Andre for free to go and see.
Who's got something that doesn't
That
need
free
the,
computer comes with a tablet.
Tom, go ahead, please.
She was talking about his Bluetooth. I have a 45-foot travel trailer. And it's got a camera on the back of it. And the first time I was up and pulled away from there, man, I must have drove a quarter of a mile and I kept seeing the back of this trailer. That thing, I don't know, for some reason, it'll show a picture for about a quarter of a mile before it disappears. I'm surprised it's got that much range. Did those cameras transmit that far?
What kind of camera?
Oh, they just come with the trailer. It's mounted up there.
Shows, yeah, what's behind the trailer without. Looks like a trailer.
Must be some kind of camera like that, huh?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not hooked up. I mean, it's all Wi-Fi, I don't know, Bluetooth or something. But my pickup truck too, I forget when I get out that I'm still hooked in, and I'll be 40 foot away from my pickup truck and someone rings and I pick up and I said, hello, hello. And once I got the radio turned up loud in the truck, it all goes back to the truck. I guess I got Bluetooth down pretty good anymore, huh? That's all I had. I just thought that camera, I just couldn't believe how far away you can get before it disappears, because I'm on guard and it still showed me the back of the trailer.
Wow.
It was like this AirPods today. I couldn't believe I was
That's
150 feet away and it was still working.
That was Bluetooth, huh? Whoa,
No line of sight, no interference.
sure wasn't 5G or something. Stan, I don't need the screen. I know I have one there, but I can tell it.
You've got something you can.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, I'm connected.
I got a bunch of goodies. Well, if you have it come up, I can tell you. Okay, I've got a bunch of items. First of all, I've got a troubleshooting quiz. Stumped me a little bit the other day and see who comes up. I've got an old HP desktop, Pavilion Elite, and I use that for my main desktop. And I've gotten it has the USB 2, that dates it a little bit. So I wanted to, because I do backups with image backups onto a USB hard drive. Obviously, I wanted to increase the performance. So I had gotten a USB 3 PCIe or whatever plug-in upgrade. It's I wouldn't call it a hub. It's actually you plug it into the expansion board. PCIe, I believe, is the acronym for it. So I had that, and I was kind of, figuring when I was going to put it in. Well, my power supply died the other day, so that made it priority one to get in, put a new power supply in. So as long as I was in there, I put the expansion board in. So I put the expansion board in, and I hooked up. I was real excited. I wanted to see how fast I'd get with the USB 3. And all of a sudden, I noticed my mouse wasn't working. It was frozen. Okay, and I unplugged the USB hard drive. Mouse worked fine. Plugged it in, locked up right away. As soon as I unplugged it, it's free again. Anybody have any ideas what was going on there?
Mr. PC Doctor?
Okay, no, this is, I'll let you know, it's a little unusual, but go ahead.
Same IRQ or?
I thought, being an old timer like you, IRQs and stuff, but no, I tried changing the PCI slots, some people that'll redo the IRQ. But no, still did the same thing. And on top of it, if I took the USB hard drive and plugged it into my standard USB 2 port, mouse would work fine.
Try disconnecting the software, disconnecting the
I did. I put the new drivers in. I took some drivers uninstalled and reinstalled.
Don't stop working.
Yeah. No.
Did the mouse come back on?
Well, there was one. There was one. You're kind of on the right track, but this is still a little bit strange. So, anybody else? Any ideas? I have a wireless mouse. Okay. This is the first time I've had this happen with but periodically in the past I've had a mouse lock up on phone. I have a wireless mouse, and what I deduced is that I had two PCI devices in there. I had a Wi-Fi receiver, one that really wasn't using, it was just sitting there, and I had the new USB 3 plugged in. The USB 3 was generating so much noise, it was interfering with the transmission of my wireless mouse. And that's the first time I've actually had true radio interference on a device in my computer. How do I measure it? Well, I got partial performance improvement by deactivating that Wi-Fi card was there, because that was also adding the problem. In a PCI, so you got the slots all close together. So. And then I just moved the USB to a furthest location on and it seems to be working now. But yeah, I'm not happy that thing is generating. And the thing was, it wouldn't generate the noise unless one of the actual USB 3 ports was being used and transmitting data. So by sitting there by itself, it wasn't. That's all I can deduce right now. It seems to be performing okay.
Did you say it's a card?
It's a card, yeah. It's an expansion card.
And who's the maker?
Oh God, it's some Otozo or Otazo or Otazo.
I wonder if the FCC would
You'd like to know about that? Yeah, maybe I can get it.
Sounds like a cheap card.
It does. They got good reviews, and I just, for some reason, it's not liking but that's the first time I've actually had enough radio, and I'm sure we'll see more of it because we're just throwing everything in the air now. But anyway, that was a little strange troubleshooting thing.
If you use a wired mouse.
Yeah, I could. Sure. Yeah, we'll go back to good old wired. I know. Except I got this nice wireless one that I hate to give up. Okay, so anyway, I thought that was interesting. So if you're really scratching your head and you got a wireless mouse and all of a sudden it's not working, look around for RF interference. Okay, you're still working on that. Okay, I sent it to the group so you can look for a link on it, but I was on there. I'm sure with everybody else, I'm happy with, or I like to periodically take a YouTube streaming video, and I like to download it. So in the past, I've had several different 4K is one that comes to mind. I have all these little programs for downloading YouTube videos. Well, recently, within about the last month or two, YouTube has changed something. Either they don't want you to download as much or whatever, but something has changed. So therefore, these apps weren't working, and I was frustrated because I wanted to download it. In other words, I see a YouTube video and I want to download it. I want to grab it and download it onto my computer. And there are programs that were around. I've been using one for several years now that work fine. You just take the link, you drop it in the app, the program, on my computer, and it, boom, downloads it. Fantastic. There it is. All of a sudden, these aren't working. So I did some poking around, and I found this very versatile and simple to use online video downloader. And what you do here to make this work is you take the URL of your YouTube video, and before the word YouTube in the URL, you put in BD, Victor David. Just stick it in there. It will come over to this online page. It will ask you what resolution. You can do this with audio, also audio only. It's got a whole screen. If you scroll down.
Here, I can do it.
Yeah, scroll down. No, it doesn't show it here. Okay, so you'd have to do it. It really worked nice. I used it a couple times, and it downloads right to my computer as a regular online download.
It's an unfortunate name, VD YouTube.
Yeah, and actually I found it on Valentine's Day.
There you go. So you grab the URL of the
You don't even
YouTube.
grab it, you just insert VD in front of YouTube.
Ah.
And it recognizes VD YouTube and it comes right to this and it already knows the rest of the URL is in there.
So you have to put the app or program on your computer?
Now, the apps that I had weren't working. And I looked for some new ones and they weren't working either. I think YouTube tried to.
That was the instructional video.
So I don't know how long it'll be around or whatever, but it was working the other day for me. I thought it was pretty cool, so I
Look at
thought
all
I'd
the
bring it up.
websites it supports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
I
it
have
ask
to
you
tell
where-
you,
It's free too, by the way. It's
Does
not,
it ask you where?
I have a
where you want to
caveat.
to?
yeah, it doesn't like a regular download. Your download.
I tried to install it on this machine. And where it says go in green, I clicked on that. And I think I did it. Maybe that's part of my problem here, but it changed my search engine. It's adding,
Why don't you go to YouTube and grab.
I still am not on the.
Oh, you're
internet.
not. Okay. Go to YouTube and just grab any old video.
Bob, this is Huey. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
hears you.
Okay, I tried it, and the problem I had is it requires flash. And a lot of us, because of security reasons, no longer have flash on our computers, so I couldn't use it.
Okay. Well, okay, fine. I still have Flash, and I really had no security.
There it is.
It says download.
Yeah.
And if you go down further on the screen, it'll actually allow you to select what type, MP4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Resolution 720, 300. So it's pretty versatile. Wow. But maybe you do need Flash for it.
I don't have Flash on this Mac.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, it works on a Mac.
Works on a Mac, Huey.
Okay, well, I'll run out and get a Mac because I had a project. I had somebody that needed some videos from YouTube downloaded and edited, so they would only use just a small snippet from several. It was about 14 different videos, and it was a project I was doing for her. And I use a program called Video. Let me look at it again here.
4K. Did you use 4K? Video 4K?
It's Replay Media Catcher 7 from Applian. I bought it several years ago, and I have continued to update it, and I use it on a regular basis. And it goes out, and when you go to the site, it in the background downloads the videos, and it works great. And then once I got them down, then I was able to go in with Camtasia and edit them. And I was going to try to use this program that you had, and I couldn't because I don't have Flash on my computer.
Okay. All right.
Not seeing too.
All right. So anyway, if you can use it, fine. All right. Now, I brought with me the other. I had done some research in the past little bit, and I was looking for a screwdriver, electric one. And my searches, I ran across this one. The first one I had, which is a professional trade one, I don't remember the name of it. It was about $400. No, it was $190 some dollars. While I was doing my searches on Amazon, I ran across this skill, which is $23. It's a lithium charged. It has a circuit tester in it too. So it has if you put proximity of, if you're working on an outlet, you want to know if it's hot or not, you can just press this button and it's got some sort of patented. And a lot of electricians, in fact, I'm still getting my remodeling finished up. And I talked to the electrician about it. And a lot of them, they have two tools for that. So this one you could have both. In fact, I let him try it out.
And lithium charged, a little micro USB plug you put in. Seems to have nice torque. Some of the ones they don't have enough when you want to try to turn it by hand. They slip in on the torque. The only complaint I got from the electrician that tried it out was it wasn't fast enough because he does stuff commercially. So he likes to zip the screws right out. Well, I think it's pretty fast. So anyway, for me around the house, I wanted to upgrade. The old ones I had were rechargeable. They never held a charge. They were, you know, so this one was nice, lithium, and 23 bucks. It also comes with a little packet of tips, a drill, and an extension socket. The shaft that I have in here is, and this is my next talking point, is a little different. How many have heard of Robertson screws?
Yeah.
Unicraft.
Yeah, they come in several sizes.
Anybody heard of Robertson? You ever heard of Scrolex? They also call them Scrolex to them. Square, yeah, well, Phillips is what everybody, and unfortunately, we inherited that. I'll give you a quick history on this. Robertson is square drive. And when I started installing commercially many years ago when I had my alarm company, I used square drive because the screws stay right on the tip real nice. They drive in with a lot, and they also are a little tamper resistant.
That's used in manufacturing for many other kind of screws.
They're used in manufacturing. I remember I see some sort of history that I think Ford at one time. There's a very interesting, if you go and search on YouTube and you search under Robertson screws, you'll see this guy that did a really incredible documentary on the battle between Phillips and Robertson. Because now if you go in Canada, these are used everywhere. If you go in the, well, they don't slip off. No, they don't. And I think eventually, though, I think even with Ford, I think they ended up using the Phillips because it just, I don't know, politics or something. But anyway, it's a really nice, and this is a shaft that I had that I periodically use, so I just stuck it in here so you can take a look at it. Also, along that guideline, a not really nice resource is I found out this is like the mother load of Robertson screws and hardware and all sorts of other special screws and hardware. It's called McFeely's. Have you ever ran across that? Okay, good. You can, I'll pass this around. You can actually email them and they'll send you, they send me this catalog, which is really, it's got, in fact, it has a little dictionary in the front about different types of screws and stuff, about corrosion resistant screws and all kind of stuff. So it's a really handy resource. I thought I'd pass it around. McFeely's.com, I think. It's on the, can you see it that close?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was also the mailman, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. There you go.
I tried to unscrew the remote to see what the guts look like, and it's got a triangular socket.
Could be tamper resistant.
Oh.
Fred McFeely Rogers.
Well, do
Probably not related.
you have, I mean, I got one a long time ago, and you can buy them like Harbor Freight has them and stuff, where they have a little box, little packet of the tamper resistant screws, all the different types with a hole in the middle or the pin in the middle, so you can't, you know, a Torx with a pin in the middle.
Two pins.
Yeah. This came with it. This is just they have a drill and a socket, and then they've got the standard Phillips and slot screws and stuff, and a couple Torx in there. But it was a nice little package for 23 bucks, and for me, it's, you know, now I'm sure somebody's going to ask how long does it run. I really didn't check that closely because I wasn't interested. If I was using it commercially, I probably wouldn't. But it had very good, a large quantity and very good reviews on Amazon, which to me carries a lot of weight. So.
You got that from Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon. Skill. It's good old Skill Tools. Skill. $23, I think I paid.
About 35 years ago, I bought a metal shed. Sears or somewhere, put it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It came with a rechargeable little screwdriver.
Yeah.
You could bend it in 80, 45.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've got one of those angular ones.
Still works today.
There you go.
35 years later.
There you go. Well, I'm a real big fan of lithium. I mean, in fact, it was kind of funny. The electrician that we've got doing the remodeling in our kitchen, I asked him one day, I wanted to keep something powered up, and I says, you got an extension cord? And he says, I don't know. I says, wait a second, you're an electrician. You don't know if you've got an extension cord? He says, let me go check. He says, yeah, I have one. He says, you know, I hardly ever use them because everything he uses now is lithium cordless, all his tools. So he doesn't pull out an extension cord like he used to have to. So anyway, so.
I got a lot of electric tools, all Milwaukee,
Yeah.
and I go on their website and see what's new all the time. They come out with the darndest thing. They have a battery-powered generator.
Yeah.
It's big enough that you can plug
Tiny. Yeah.
all your saws and everything into it. So if you're working inside a building, you can't run a generator, you can use that to plug into it.
Yeah.
And I was working on my pump motor, my pool pump motor, and apparently they don't do all the screws, but they put one screw in there that you can't get out. It's called a safety screw. And you have to have a special head for it. Now I got drawerfuls and drawerfuls of screw heads. I finally found one. I didn't even know I had one. But you couldn't get that motor apart unless you had that special head. I guess it's to keep people from opening up electric motors or something. I didn't know they did that. So they must do that on a lot of stuff, I imagine.
Well, one other side note on tools. I'm sure everybody here at one time used Craftsman, right? Everybody used Craftsman?
Yep.
And you know, of course, the demise was Sears. Now Craftsman, well, Craftsman is, Lowe's has it, Ace Hardware has it. And I went to the guy in Lowe's the other day and I said, do they still have, because they typically had a lifetime warranty. If you chipped or snapped a screwdriver or whatever. In fact, I had a little jeweler's screwdriver one time, which are pretty delicate, and I snapped the blade on it, and I took it into Sears, replaced it. But now the Lowe's guy, Ace might be different. The Lowe's guy was kind of careful. He says, yeah, we replace them if they're not a set. So does that mean you got to have them buy them individually? I don't know. But anyway, supposedly Craftsman still has the lifetime warranty on their tools.
How many times I've had my ratchet
Sure.
repaired? I got a 3/8 drive ratchet. I've got 4 pipes on the end of it.
Sure.
To try to turn it.
Craftsman name is owned by Stanley.
Yeah.
This happened years ago, but a friend of mine had a trucking company, and he's always working on these trucks, and he had this great big box of broken Craftsman tools, and he's got to throw it all out. And I took it back to Sears. They give me all day. So I had just drawerfuls of screwdrivers and stuff.
One of the guys I worked with, his dad worked for Crescent Company, and they have a lifetime warranty too. So one of Floyd's dad's responsibility was to hit all the stores, pick up all the broken tools, and then replace them to the stores. And then that was in Portland, and they lived in Vancouver, so they had to go across the Portland-Vancouver bridge. And then Floyd's job was taking all those broken tools and chucking them off the bridge into the Columbia River, because if you throw them in the trash, they'll wind up coming back again and having to be replaced a second or third time, you know. So if they're at the bottom of a river, they're not going to come back.
When they reject something bad, they bury them.
Oh, really?
They bury them. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's all I've got then.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Like I said, the McFeely's catalog, if you're a woodworker, you know about that. Almost everything that's a pocket hole, which are a lot of them in the furniture, you don't see most of them, are almost all square drive. I use it a lot in my woodworking, and but you can get, they have a new joiner in there called it's called a domino joiner instead of a biscuit joiner. So those thin things that look like a domino. I don't have anything to do. I think a big thing I got is I got an 1861 Springfield musket. So I haven't shot it yet, but I have an 64 Remington New Army. I've never shot that either, but I have an old 56 Navy, what they call Navy 36. I've shot a lot. Black powder shooting, and the reason they call it black powder is because everything turns black when you shoot. The gun, the person, everything.
What you need to do, my father had a musket type handgun. It was a kit, and he built it. You know, put it all together and stuff, but he wasn't quite too sure. So what he did is he strapped it to a tree, put a string on the trigger, and stood back and pulled the string to make sure it was going. not blow up in his face.
They're okay. People make a mistake with the black powder stuff, putting nitrates in there. You can't do it alone the pieces.
Yeah.
But if you shoot black powder, they won't.
Yeah.
I built 3 of those.
Okay.
A single shot, they got a catch box, they
Okay.
got a cruise switch, just like this.
Oh, wow.
Never fired.
Nice.
Yeah. It's interesting. Civil War, I studied Civil War a lot, but I have some Civil War arms. I've got a bayonet for it.
Do
Everything.
you ever go to the, I stumbled upon it one time out there at Mount Dora there, the
Reenactment?
Renegers, they out in the field there, they
I
reenact.
do about 4 or 5 reenactments
That
every
was
year.
pretty cool.
I dress up as I'm too old to be a soldier, so I dress up as a U.S. Marshal.
Okay.
That way I get to wear my gun.
Okay.
So,
His daughter makes all his uniforms and her dresses and all for it. They're really neat.
yeah, my daughter got me into it. She dresses, my other daughter dresses, my wife does once in a while. And I have a grandson, great-grandson, that served with the 17th Connecticut as a reenactor. He's a private soldier. So it's a lot of fun. Old weapons like that they're fun to have, fun to show to people. The people, is that what they shot during the Civil War? Yeah. Is it a musket? Well, it's barrel load, muzzle loader, but it's not a musket, it's a rifle. Where the old brown bess that the English used, and that we used during the Revolutionary War, kill maybe 50, 75 yards. These ones will kill up to 600. So they're real rifles.
Did you ever see a live demonstration of the Gatling gun?
Oh.
I think that'd be cool.
Yep, I've seen them Gatling guns. I've seen mortars and 12-pounders.
Oh, jeez, wow.
I noticed a lot of those old rifles with 50 calibers. I just
58, they're 58s.
That's big. Oh,
58 or 62, it's about the
That's a
size of
big
your
shell,
thumb.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big shell.
And that bullet's called a mini ball. It's not a ball and it's not mini. It was invented by a Frenchman named Claude Bonnet, and it's improved by an American called Barlow. He invented the gas seal, which made it much more effective. So it's quite a thing.
That would blow a big hole in you.
Yeah, that was why so many limbs during the Civil War were lost. People you got hit in the bone, it just shattered the bone.
Sure.
They didn't know about resecting, so they just cut it off.
Yeah.
And that's why there were such horrible wounds during the war, because the bullets were very low speed and very heavy. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to go out and reenact. They have big battles. That's
Okay.
That's good. I don't have anything.
Yeah, I know you brought up troubleshooting stuff.
Sure.
So I'm kind of a newbie at this. Built my own PC. It's a couple years old now, and ran into an issue where I could do just about everything except I play these online MMOs, and when I would get to the character selection screen where the character is actually going to connect my computer with the server computer and do that handshake or whatever, the computer would just freeze. And I started out as a big Mac fan for many years. So this is obviously a PC. First of all, I don't know where to bring a PC to get fixed, because I'm used to bringing my stuff into the Apple store. So ideas of places that are legit to bring in our PC.
The two places we recommend are Refresh Electronics, 434 near 1792.
Mm-hmm.
That's another guy called Smart Guy.
Smart.
Sanford. It's on Route 15, just south of 46.
And he's in Sanford.
Smart Guy.
Okay, so I did actually take it to Refresh. Yeah, because a friend suggested it, and whatever. Anyway, they did a diagnostic on it and said that it was most likely the power supply, which I replaced. But the issue, one of the issues is that is that when I look at the voltages on hardware monitor, which I know is just a software thing, and that there's going to be a discrepancy there. My 3.3 volt rail is like 3.06 whatever, which is low, right? Even with the new power supply.
Is this a tower?
Yeah. So I went from a 650 watt power supply that's 2 years old to a brand new one that's 850 watts. And I'm still getting the low voltage reading via software. I don't have a multimeter of my own to see what's really going on and whether I should be concerned.
I wouldn't be concerned about it.
No?
That's fine.
But you're saying all of this though is a problem of connecting to the server of the MMO, or for those who don't know, are games that people like myself to play online, and you have characters and they interact with the environment. And you log into their server, and then the server, you're basically sending all your commands to the server over the internet. Me personally, I would think it's more an issue of the internet connection than it is the computer.
Mm-hmm. Well,
have you tried it on someone else's computer with your account just to make sure?
First of all, with the new power supply, it is now working as far as gaming. So that issue is gone, but the voltage is still not reading. I mean, according to what I've seen, it should be 3.175 or higher, right?
There's a tolerance.
So a 3.068 is okay as long as it's working.
Some digital circuits, a couple of tens of a volt.
If that's the case, it's a bad circuit.
I mean, it's a pretty easy, you have a multimeter.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody who has any kind of technical talent to get here, measure a couple of voltages is a piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
You said your thing is working now, right?
It is working now, but I'm concerned that, don't worry about it.
No.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Did you ever try measuring your internet speed, like speed?
Yeah, I get about 100 megs.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. I had built a smaller system that I was going to sell, and actually when my main computer was at refresh, the other computer was connecting with no problem and no voltage issues. So anyway, that was the one thing.
Yeah.
Are you testing the voltage with everything hooked up, or are you just testing the power supply isolated by itself?
That's with everything. That's with it's via software, so everything's hooked up.
I'm just wondering if there's something on the motherboard that's drawing the voltage down.
Yeah, see, that's
one of the things you can do to try to isolate it is you disconnect everything but the motherboard connector. Disconnect the power, disconnect the video card. Oh, yeah, that's true.
You could look at the specification on that power supply, and it will say 3-something volts plus or minus.
Right.
And see what that plus or minus is. You might fall easily in the range of the tolerance of that output.
Okay.
So.
So now the other issue is that when I took the machine into refresh, I disconnected 3 of my hard drives and kept them with me. So all they had was my boot drive, which is an M.2 drive. So today, I hooked up my other drives. It's connecting, it's syncing with the game and everything. But when I go into Windows to try to tell it to relocate like docs, which right now is on the C drive, to relocate the docs to where it's supposed to be, which is my storage drive, it's not allowing me to do that.
You're not a change drive designator? What software are you using?
It's Windows 10.
Windows 10. but you can't reassign from one to the other. What would you do it? In other words, if I've got D and E,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot assign D to E.
No. What I'm saying is, okay, I don't have a Windows laptop. All I have is a really
Yeah,
old
that's
clunky Mac that I left at home. Okay, so I go to my computer and I go to the C drive. Okay, I go to where it says Docs, right? And then you go to Properties, and then you can go and move the location from C to, let's say, what's
D.
going to be D.
Mhm.
And normally in the past, it's been able to do that, and now it's not allowing me to do that.
Is the D drive, when you look at it under the file
Mhm.
browser, the actual drive? In other words, when you look at D, is it the correct one?
Yeah.
Okay, because I heard when you started the discussion, I heard you say you had disconnected some other drives from it. That the only thing you had was your M2 drive when you booted up.
Right. And then when I hooked them all back up, I reassigned reassigned the CDE, whatever.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I didn't reassign C, but
No, it's a dialogue box.
Oh, okay.
Stan, can you bring up your file manager?
What if you have physically not connected to the proper drive cable?
Just go down to the bottom and click on all the way down to the bottom. Get the pop up. Now hit the file right next to your Internet Explorer, or your Edge icon. Hit the file folder.
yeah.
Hit that.
So you open that.
It's coming up. You got two of them. Close the extra one. Why? Okay, so you're not viewing the drives.
Again, I asked you.
Okay, so you do. Well, just click on this PC in the search, just right in the center where it says this PC. Down, up,
At the URL.
left, where it says this PC. Just click this PC to your left and slightly down. It says the words right there, up to the right. One more. That's it. Just
Here we
click
go.
on that. Now scroll down. Okay, so you're telling me that your M2 drive is your C drive,
Right.
and then you've got a D drive that's your data.
That's like a hard disk.
Okay.
So like.
Okay, now where it says documents, right click on it, Stan. Right click on documents in the center of your screen. One more down. Right click. Properties. Okay. Now you got system, not the drive. Okay, close that menu.
He got it.
Well, but you want the properties of the documents folder, not not the system. Close that. Go ahead and click on documents. Now, why is it not? Well, try on top of the word documents, right click.
There.
Yeah. And it's not giving you properties in that
No, you
screen.
could've gotten it the other way.
Yeah, it should have gotten it the other way.
Yeah, I don't know why you did.
See, my window looks a little different on the left.
Yeah, you've got the browsing section.
When you actually went in to look at the physical drives, they did properly identify the CD.
Yeah.
So you didn't accidentally have the cables.
Yeah, so she's got the right one. What it sounds to me like an access problem. Is the move is it grayed out and not responding, or is it's there but it just
there.
click on it?
I can read the stuff. I can pull it to the desktop. The
But if you
stuff will
right click,
open,
if you do
but
go to properties and then move is just not
it won't,
responding.
because I'm afraid that now that I've got the system and it's up and running, cross my fingers, that when I start creating new docs and stuff, and it's going to be putting it on my C drive, which is only a 500 gig drive, whereas I've got a terabyte on my hard disk.
There is a utility that's called Take Ownership Of.
Mhm.
And it's a little batch file that when you run it, makes a quick registry entry on its own. And you can click on any folder and then click Take Ownership Of, and it will go through that folder and everything that's nested below it and assign it to your account. Sometimes, especially if you've been making some changes,
One more question.
Windows doesn't think that you own the
Yeah,
rights to
right.
make the changes.
Is it saying anything when you're trying to move, or it just doesn't do it?
No, like it says, oh God, I should have taken, okay, so I started with my 3D objects was the first thing on the list. Yeah, and assigned it to that drive. That one went, so then I went down to documents and then tried to reassign that to that drive, and it wants to assign it to 3D objects, and I'm like, no, it's not. I don't want Word docs in the folder that has 3D objects.
Right.
So I'm like, that's not it. So then I tried to go and put like the docs into the docs on that drive because it's got my Word doc.
Yeah.
And it says can't do it because there's already a file that's got that same name, basically.
Okay, they've already transferred.
No.
But it's not in there. When you go look, it's not in
No,
there?
because they're not talking to one another.
Wait, you say it won't transfer because it says there's already a file by that name in that drive. But you go to that drive and it's not in there?
Right.
Wowzer.
It's like they're separate.
On Documents Properties.
Okay, so
Okay, so
location.
And then I'm going to location.
Right. And
Right
then you
now,
go.
I see users.
Right.
documents,
And then you
I'm
click.
not actually going to make the changes. That'll mess this computer up. But I'm
Right.
going to click on Move.
Right.
Right now, you would normally locate data.
Like, correct.
And let it go to data.
Yeah.
And then
And then
I
you
would
would-
make I would create a new folder calling it Documents, and then click on it, and then select it, and then say Move.
If you select it, it will put the document
What
under the folder under the folder.
But what she is saying is, she clicks on it,
It doesn't
and
do it.
it doesn't respond.
Yeah. Well, no, she says.
It says that
it's
there's
got that
already
file.
a file there with that name and it won't let me do it.
So my guess is she's got a folder in the folder.
Well, no,
If you create a folder called documents, and then you move the documents folder to documents, you end up with another sub. You get a child folder.
Right.
Okay, so that's not what you want to do, right? You just want to move the files. But when what's crazy now, what I'm not getting, he's getting either, is when you go to that D drive and you go to the document section and you go into documents, that file is not there.
No, the stuff that was originally on that drive is there. And I can take it from that drive and put it onto my desktop, which is my C drive, right? But I can't, like if I make a new document, it's not going to save it to the D drive, it's going to save it to the C drive.
Well, that's your choice.
It won't let me put it, I don't know how to reconnect it.
You want to change the default drive to D.
Okay.
If you're in Word, for instance, and you're making
Right.
a file, when you say that you filed, then you can do a save as. It will ask you where.
Right.
Okay, and you can change your default to D.
But isn't there also,
She has to move it there. She wants that to be default.
Yes, right. She'll have to move the set the
And
default.
she's saying the computer's not responding to her.
Well, but the
when she
file's
changes-
already there. What she's saying is the new files won't go where the old ones are.
right,
And you want them to go to where the new ones go.
I want the new files to go where the old files are.
Right, indeed.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, you just changed the default
Okay.
drive.
When I did that, it said that it wanted to overwrite that drive.
If in fact there is a file in there by the same name, it will ask you that question. Yes, it will. Because it doesn't know, all it knows is you gave it the same name twice, and the computer said, well, you can't do that.
Mhm.
You can make Florida, and you can have Florida 1.
Right.
Okay, then you got two file names, and they'll be right next to each other. But you can't put on the 2 Floridas in the same, because it'll ask you, you want to overwrite, or do you want to control away?
When you load the document, how do you do that? Do you do it through the program, or do you just go to it and click on it?
What do you mean? Like if I make a new Word doc?
No,
You open up.
you have an existing document
Mm-hmm.
called the ABC.
Right.
When you want to open that document, how do you do it?
I just click it and open it.
Okay, so now you opened your program.
Right.
And when you save, it will not save back to ABC.
No, she says it will have another file in by the same name.
When you make a new file, it will go back to your tape.
You have another option. You have an external drive,
Yeah.
small external drive.
Mm-hmm.
Put everything on the small external drive, delete everything off of your C drive documents. You know, so it's all gone, move, and there's nothing there, and then
put
copy
it
them
back.
all back. I mean, I know it's the long way around, but I just found the Take Ownership Of article
Mm-hmm.
on How to Geek. And if you give Stan your email address, he'll add you to our email list.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean usually puts links to things that we discuss here.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be there. That's the only other thing I can think of if it's not actually letting you do the move.
Right. Right.
Sounds like when she makes new, is this right? When you make a new, I'm gonna say it doesn't go in.
It's
But it will if she moves.
if I do what he says, I know that'll work because I've done that in the past. Unless Windows is like, you know, it's just I don't want to.
Well, I worked on Ted's computer and it was a very similar situation. And I because he had some stuff sitting on the C drive, and he had some stuff sitting on the D drive. And to get them all where they needed to go, you weren't there at the time I did it, but I had to copy everything to another external hard drive, erase it off of the C drive, get rid of the folder on the D drive, move the location of documents, pictures, music, videos, if I remember correctly, and downloads, which are all system folders. Move them over to the D drive, get the external hard drive, copy it in, copy the old stuff there. And as far as you're concerned, when you hit your documents folder, it goes there. And
So is
anything new goes there.
So is that like maybe the best thing, the easiest? I mean, it takes time.
It may be.
Just make sure you got a good backup.
Yeah.
But you could also do the move, and if it says it's already there, do you want to overwrite? You can say no, and you can say no to everything.
It's not gonna be there.
Yeah, yes, it will. Once she's done the move,
Yeah, they'll be there.
it'll go where she wants it to.
The only problem with that is you might have files that are newer with the same name, so you probably, to keep current, would want to overwrite.
Will I need to put
You
in,
know what I'm saying, Mike? I know. I'm saying
if
that
I do like what you're saying, will I have to put in reinstall Windows?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because this is it's only 2
I
weeks
know, it's
old.
frustrating.
Yeah.
There's an easier way, but it just gets confusing.
Word, you bring up settings or something like that.
That's not it, Paul. It has nothing to do with the program work. Word will default to what the computer.
Let it ask you where you want your files to be saved. Or Excel. It says, where do you want to save your files? It's a global setting.
Yes.
I want my Excel files to be saved.
To documents, not D:" documents. You just say
Right.
documents.
See, because like right now, I have.
Windows 10 to direct where your documents can be saved.
Right.
No, it's just what I just did.
Because like right now, when I look at my documents, if I just click the initial document thing that comes up is just the stuff from the past couple weeks. The stuff that's on the C drive, that was on the little drive. But if I go to my D drive, all my documents on my 1 terabyte drive are there on the D drive.
So you should not change anything if you do the move and it says it's about to overwrite. Because if everything is on D already from your previous setup, you're doing is changing the location of the system folder. It's really all you're doing. If you're concerned about the prompt saying it's about to overwrite, you do have a backup, but it's not going to erase anything. And you shouldn't have a whole bunch of new stuff on your C drive's documents location. If you do, then it's a few items which you can take off of there. Yeah. So I think you just can go ahead and do it, but with a good backup.
Right. Okay.
How many files are you talking about? What size?
It's a terabyte.
No, but the
It's-
new
The new one is 500. It's only about,
how much data have you got that you've created since the new one went in?
maybe 100 gigs, not even. Anyway, thank you.
And there is the article.
And is that freeware?
It's just, yeah, well, he tells you how to do it. And it's a small batch file that you download. When you run it, it makes a change to the registry and puts the right-click menu has different options. And if you click on a file folder and right-click on it, it'll say take ownership of. And if you take ownership of everything, it makes sure that you're specific, especially since you had an old system and a new system. It makes sure that you have access to every single file folder and document. Yes. Yes. And if you've, again, on Ted's computer that I worked on, I had his old files on a new installation of Windows 10, and it didn't want to let me have access to them, even though he used the same account name, Ted, because it recognized it was
Windows
from a
makes
different
like
computer.
a super user.
Yeah, it makes it makes you a super user. So I just ran that and it took maybe 10 minutes to go through everything he had, all of his folders below, documents, videos, music, pictures. And I just said, take ownership.
Take try to do that through the Windows prompts.
So it just recursively goes through and gives you access to it.
I tried to come for the Windows SIG, but y'all didn't have a meeting that day.
That's the second Sunday. You have the meeting in July. I was talking about that. It seems like people are taking pit stops. If anybody else needs to go, let's get it done now. If you want to discuss meeting locations, I'll wait until Ken and Bob and Sean.
Get back.
Okay. It took me a long time to get back online, and the issue was somehow, and I can't figure this out, when we were doing stuff with the HDMI cable in and out, also the power didn't stay on, so the battery died and all that. I had to reboot twice, and the first time I rebooted, it wasn't, the Wi-Fi somehow got turned off. I hadn't turned it off. I had to actually, find a place to turn it back on. I wasn't seeing any Wi-Fi. So I'm finally back on.
As a group of technical geeks,
Yeah.
we sure have our own problems.
Murphy follows people around, and he's very good at what he does. And right now, I think I'm back onto the meeting that you're still streaming.
And there we are. Oh, Dick Vogel has joined us.
Hang on a second. I've got to mute your mic. Okay, I muted you. I thought I did. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Okay, everybody's muted. Okay, go ahead, Stan.
Oh, I'm still muted, so that's fine.
No, you weren't. That was my problem.
I was saying, doing left, I see. Yes.
I guess so.
Okay. The, just using your, that's using the camera in your phone, right?
That's correct.
That's not, high precision, but it's decent.
Well, I can zoom or I can come up closer. And part of that is the Wi-Fi. I've noticed when you're seeing video and you're streaming it, if the Wi-Fi is not good, it will cut the resolution.
And the stripes on my shirt.
Yeah.
Notice that.
Well, we need Gary's glasses so that we see them straight. You see them as straight lines, Gary, or are they?
That's fine.
They say when people, are television personalities, they shouldn't wear stripes and things that intersect. Because the cameras, the older cameras could.
Yeah. I haven't worn this shirt in a long time.
Herringbone effect.
Yeah. I can do a screen. Oh, Sean, do you have anything you want to show us? Thank you.
Yeah, I suppose I can show you some things here. Want to give me the thing? Thanks. So this does my. So I got one of these for Christmas. Now, this is kind of an odd thing for Christmas, but it was on my Amazon wish list, and somebody wanted to buy me something. So there you go. It's a Pittsburgh 3-ton jack, and I used it for the first time this. Well, no, that's not true. I've used it a couple times now, but it does a great job. It's one of those quick lift ones, and so you only have to pump it a few times to get it out. And
Are you doing oil changes now?
I always do my own.
Oh, okay. I thought you special deal.
That's from Amazon. Yeah,
That's a very good price. Yeah. I just want one for free.
So I may have mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier last year that I got a new Honda CRV, and it's a high compression engine with a turbo on it, and it's direct injection, and that it directly puts the fuel right into the cylinder instead of a chamber, and then gets drawn in. And those engines can have issues with oil dilution or getting the gas into the oil. This particular engine, in the Honda CRV, there have been some reports of your actual oil. If you check the dipstick, it actually goes up instead of burning and going down. So yeah, thank you. It's bad. So I haven't noticed that in mine. Supposedly they've fixed it with software. And it also, they say it depends on if the temperature of the outside air and so forth, and it affects mostly northern states because it's colder there. But I'm concerned about it, of course. I just want to. So I got a Blackstone kit, and when I changed the oil this weekend, I went ahead and I filled the little bottle up, and I'm sending it off for $38 or for $28. You can get a test, and they'll measure what's in the oil and so forth. So I sent that out yesterday, so I should be getting that hopefully within a couple of weeks, just to find out what's going on with that.
You know, in the old days, gas and oil, you know what that meant? Bad seals.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you're getting your gas.
It still does. Because because the rings, it's slipping past the rings.
Only
So
one
there's
way-
steel.
well, one way in.
It's, yeah, right, software, whatever.
Well, it could be software.
It could be software, but
If you
it's,
overpress or overstroke, because like you say, northern climate, you have to choke the engine to make it run, which means more gasoline.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're taking a longer stroke in the ejectors.
Right.
So that means what doesn't get burned because of the cold air winds up somewhere.
Mhm.
And no ring seals perfectly, right? No set of rings.
All there is no power.
Well,
Don't listen to explain it. I'm telling you.
it does, but you have to add more fuel to get it.
Yeah, we're in Florida.
And if it doesn't burn all the fuel, there's only one way for it to go. Either goes out the exhaust or goes down. Supposed to, that's why I say you can solve it.
yeah.
So how long of your CRV, the 19? That's, no, it's real late.
It's a 19 and it's,
So how often do they recommend?
well, the new Hondas have, the new Honda have a computer that tells you it's slow change. First change was at about 6,500. This one I did at 5,000. Supposedly I still had 40% left of oil life. My previous Honda I would do every 10,000, but supposedly the computer's smarter than, it measures the kind of driving you do and so forth. So if necessary, I'll do it at an interval instead of waiting for the computer to tell me.
We can probably set, if you give you up, you reset, software on the screen to zero it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've done that. Yeah. And I'm also tracking it on Hondas because I have a owners.honda.com. You can create an account, and I've logged into that, and I save it in there as well as by the way, there's also a app that you can download from your app store, either Apple or Android, called Car. It is called. It's by Carfax, called Car Care, and it's by Carfax, which you've probably all heard of. And the icon on at least on the iPhone, probably on both Android too, is a fox, because Carfax, their icon, their symbol is a fox. Anyway, that's a really handy tool because you can store it's free, and you can store all of your maintenance stuff in there. And it also interacts with like the dealership. If you do something at the dealership or at a reputable car place, that's all tracked through your VIN, and it comes down into this car care app automatically. Yeah.
Now, do they
Time to
use-
move on.
Does the car care interface with things like Firestone and stuff? So
Yeah.
you can.
Mhm.
Okay, then what? Firestone just sends it over there, or you get a copy and it goes in?
I guess it goes to the state, because if you were to run a report,
Yeah.
they pull there's some magic place that they pull from, and it comes down. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's free.
You make your own categories up in Carfax?
I don't know. You can download it and look at it. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I got this.
If you take your car to a dealer and have them zero, it gets reported to Carfax. Okay. Is there any way that you can do it? If you're changing your own oil, is there any way you can get that into that?
I don't know.
You're probably going to keep the car for a long while. So
Yep. Right.
and just out of curiosity myself, you use Mobile One or standard?
Amsoil.
Amsoil.
Mobile one.
Amsoil.
Mobile one.
Mobile One, that's
So
Which grade Amsoil is it? Seventh grade?
I use the Signature series, which is supposedly the best. I don't
That's got Mobile One though.
I don't know. I've been using it. If I'm gonna have to change my oil more often, though, I'm thinking about switching to Mobile One. Just because it's synthetic as well, and I'll do research before I do switch. But you can get that at Costco or Walmart for that matter. And, so I may wind up switching. I'm not sure.
30 years, and on my trucks, I just change oil every 15,000 miles. And they went 250,000 miles, no problem.
Wow.
I change every 8 to 10, and I've been doing the same thing. 2002.
Well, I had a 2004, I don't know if you remember, a Honda Element. And,
Keep car past 40,000 miles.
and that had 280, almost 280,000. And I did every 10,000 miles, AMSOIL, AMSOIL. And it always had AMSOIL, nothing but.
A lot of times I just change the filter and say it's 14.
So this,
One at a time.
you guys talking? So, so this jack, if I was to use that under the pinch weld on my Honda, it could mess it up. So I bought some pucks that are rubber that fit in that round disc that has a V on it. So when you jack it up, it actually cups the V on the pinch weld and raises the car without any damage. Made just for that, because modern cars, almost all cars now are, I think all cars now are unibody. I don't think they're frame anymore. So
There's a lot of plastic on the new cars. You have to be careful with the jack. And when you're going with a large disc like that, you have to be sure that you're on. On my Corvette, I use a Charlie jack a lot, which is a really small disc and gets it. Yeah.
So you got the adapter.
You know,
I got the adapter. It works.
I didn't know because you can buy that on Amazon. I thought that was a Harbor Freight brand.
And they mail it to you, and there's no fee for shipping. And they mail it to you, and the box when it comes, the box when it comes, I don't know. That thing's gotta be, it's gotta be 50 pounds. It's heavy. It's super heavy. 70 pounds.
It's 70
Yeah, they sent the city. You know. So, but I also changed the tire. I also rotated the tires this weekend. So I have these jacks, and you can do the rubber, those rubber pieces. This is what it looks like for the jack. These little. So the jack, you can also put, you put these over the top of the jack. It's got the V for the, again, for the pinch weld.
That's good.
Handy thing. Those things are cheap.
Is that the pinch wheel on the outside? Is that the pinch?
How long have you had the car?
I want an appointment.
Is that the pinch wheel on the outside of the car?
Yeah. Anyway,
That's really cool.
I expect to put 20,000 miles, maybe 22 on this year, by August.
You got it in August?
I got it in August, late August.
You're driving from downtown to Disney.
Yes.
5 days a week.
Right. So it puts a lot of miles on it. So something else that I got recently, a guy at work came to me and he said, "Hey, I've got this idea that I found out I can create a AirPlay speaker." Now, AirPlay is the Apple a wireless protocol where you can go into your playing music and you hit a button and it casts whatever you're listening to a speaker or you can, it works with video too. But I wanted to. He said, "I'm going to make this AirPlay speaker. Also works as a Bluetooth speaker out of a Raspberry Pi Zero W, which is the wireless version." I said, "I'm interested." Because I was thinking to myself, in my garage, I'd like to have some nicer speakers. In the house, I've got a computer that I rarely use, and I have some of those Bose companion speakers. I don't know if you remember those. They still sell them, and they sound really good. So I thought, well, maybe I could plug that into a Raspberry Pi and make that work. Well, I bought the Raspberry Pi Zero W, and I also got this daughter board for it that has it's supposed to be higher quality audio. And the whole deal was like $30, something like that. And there was some soldering involved, which I've never soldered before. And the guy that was telling me about this said, "Hey, do you want me to solder it for you?" I said, "Sure." And so I gave it to him. A day later, he brings it back. He said, "Here you go. It's all soldered up." And it works great. You plug it, you connect it to your wireless. And I'm able to, when I'm in the garage working, which what's when you think about changing the oil this weekend, I was able to play music from my phone wirelessly to these speakers in the garage. Nice and loud, easy to hear, and it worked great. It was really nice. So there's all kinds of things you can do with Raspberry Pi, like I've talked about Pi-hole, and I've got some other things I do with it. Yeah. So anyway, fun things there. Let me see. Yeah, Tom.
He's talking about your garage and speakers. In my garage, I bought these 4-foot LED lights for $25, and there's 2 speakers in it.
Yeah, remember you saying that?
Yeah, I use it all the time, but I don't usually listen to music. I usually listen to the news or I listen to books on it all the
I
time.
wish I knew about those, because I did the LED shop lights in my garage too. I've got 4 sets of them, but they don't have that built in. So I had to go somewhere.
They were on sale for $20. I think they're normally 24.
Wow, that's great.
I don't even know if I can get them there anymore, but I bought 10 of them.
Wow. So one last thing before we can move on. I also, when I was changing the wheels, I was thinking, or rotating the tires, and changing the oil. I have a torque wrench. Do people have torque wrenches?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I got that for like $40 on Amazon several years ago now. And it just makes you feel good to go click. You know it's doing it. Right? There's a sense of satisfaction.
We got certain meals today.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Be really
Yeah.
careful.
So I've got that, and I do that on all wheels. I have to go back and do it again just to.
Especially on your lug nuts.
Mhm.
I'll tell you, I've heard, first of all, alloy wheels are sensitive to over torquing,
Mhm.
to cracking and things like that. Also, which I didn't know, I just learned a couple of weeks ago that, and I forget what it was, that if you over torque, this is what I heard. I don't know how much of it. If you over torque your lug nuts, it will cause your brake rotor
To warp.
warp.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got 80 foot-pounds on each of those nuts. And it's just so much nicer than using a regular.
But when I had my 280ZX, that's in. I mean, I'm very well set up at home. I just take the air impact wrench. No, it wasn't until I use a torque wrench for things that need to be torqued, but not lug nuts on wheel. Of course, we had steel rings back then. Didn't matter.
Right. I've gone to places that have worked on my car, not lately, but I'll ask them. I want to make sure that it's torqued and not use it. And they will impact it. And later on, I get to go and try to get that off. It is almost impossible to get those things off there. They torque them down. I mean, they really torque them down.
If you get past 120, 110, it's very hard to open it up manually.
Yeah.
I think our Super was 89 foot-pounds. That's it.
Yeah.
Not much.
But I got a really nice tool set with wrenches that has a big breaker bar on it. Wow, what a difference it is using that breaker bar.
I know about the torque wrench. They sell at the tool store. I think it goes in on the end of your ratchet wrench with the digital on it. And it comes in a little box, and I use
that's
it.
neat.
You can just do that.
That'll work too, right? Yeah.
And speaking of torque wrenches, they torque them on with the air gun.
Yeah.
I got an electric gun. It'll take any nut off of any tire you ever had. And I carry it with me when I travel because no matter how tight they put them on, it's battery powered, but they're so powerful anymore, it'll
Really?
just run right off.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, they're not cheap either. The electric ones are high torque.
Well, that sounds like is that a wireless one? A cordless? Battery?
Or battery.
Really? How much do they go for? Oh, really? A couple $100 bucks?
They're a couple $100 but use
Look
it.
at that sign over there.
You know what they're good for? My neighbors borrow it all the time. When you're changing the plates on your lawnmower,
Yeah.
it's hard to hold them and get them to torque off.
Yes.
You put this thing on and you go, they just go right off. They just
Yeah.
fall.
I use that on my John Deere.
Your finger falls off or the?
No,
the bolt. Okay.
I mean, I got big air bolts too, but I don't even get it out of it.
Get a good hold on, because something's gonna turn.
Huh?
You keep that on your plane? Okay.
No, not my plane.
Spins
When I
the
pull
belly.
my trailer.
Got a new Ford Escape from my wife. Took it in. The second time, they change oil, and they rotate your tires. Second time they did it, had about 7 new lug nuts. There's a 2-piece lug nut, and grit gets in there,
Oh.
and then they can't get them off, it just tears it up.
Actually, that was a big problem for us.
That's what I'm saying.
I heard about
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about
You'll call, you'll get free oil changes for the first.
I will not, I don't want anybody touching my car. I don't want.
Are we gonna have an auto sig
I've heard horror,
startup?
sorry. I've heard horror stories about
I
people.
let them do my car for 3 years until the warranty ran out.
I didn't even ask. I don't care. I don't care about. Plus, they put their
Paul-
oil in and that.
Paul and I will talk about our Corvettes.
You remember, automobile diesel?
Yeah.
Automobile?
Ugh.
You was talking about, Amsoil, and I had one of those diesels, and I lived up north. And I didn't have a garage, so when it sat outside, it didn't want to start. Some guy said if I put Amsoil in there, it'd start right up.
Oh, yeah.
And it does. It don't coagulate in the winter. And it would start, and I got about 3 or 4 miles a gallon more at the time.
You gotta make sure line before you check your oil too. Cause most oil runs off a hot metal, and so sticks to it till the metal gets cold, then it runs off.
I don't know, I've run it and everything for 40, 30, 40 years. Ever since I had that diesel, because it run, you know how they had so much control of that motor, I run mine 110,000 miles before I traded it.
Well, I'll tell you what, well, we can get off the car subject, but I can talk about it all day. There could be an auto sync.
Yes.
But this Honda takes 0W 20. And I'll tell you what, when you're under the, and by the way, when I did this test with the bottle, capture the oil, you have to run the engine, get it up to operating temperature before you change your oil. I can't say I always do that. You do for this test. So when that oil comes out of there, it's like water. And it's my second oil change. First time it did this, and now it's done it twice. When you open that valve, or you open the nut, take the nut out of there, it goes into the pan, but then it splashes out of the pan onto the driveway. So the last time that happened, and I wasn't prepared. This time I thought I was prepared. I bought an oil mat, but it's a thin, it wasn't enough. I'm gonna take an old blanket and lay it down there because I don't want that driveway.
020 up north is fine. Down here in Florida, where we get 100-degree days and 90 most of the year, some people profess 030 is a better oil for down in Orlando.
What's the 30? What's the second number? Wouldn't it be 5W? 5W?
Yeah.
030 rather than 0W20, 030.
But the weight is the first number. What's the second?
It's 2.
No. The first number
It's a range.
is the cold point, pour point, and the upper number is what it is at operating temperature.
Okay.
And if it's hotter weather, you want a higher number.
Except the pinholes on your engine.
I now run 030.
Especially with superchargers and stuff like that on now, very little, and the crankshaft is hollow. Didn't used to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the crankshaft is hollow. They actually pump the oil down the crankshaft. At least they do in my car.
They like
Probably
020.
yours too.
They like 020, so they can put higher mileage to sell the cars.
The Odyssey? Yeah, right. That's great for these.
Moving right along.
I got life to do.
All right, I'm done. That's it.
I have to chuckle that you've never soldered before. You're too young.
Yeah,
to,
you never built circuit.
solder your own, like radios.
Radio.
Right.
He's kidding.
Yeah, I'm a little whippersnapper.
I thought it tin cans and then the tower antenna.
They should build their own sideband systems. Good God. If you knew how it worked.
I'm gonna have to check Amazon for things I see over in Home Face. Because I'm just floored by what.
That is a pretty good. Was it 74?
It was $75. It's usually 95. I got it for 89, I think, or something like that.
They don't allow this.
I wonder why.
On jacks and other right.
Oh, yeah.
So I got it. Did you just switch to
They say just allow it on
The jack was not free shipping. I thought it was. It was $63 to ship.
I think America,
$63.
It's shipping.
too many cooks here.
Sorry.
Too many cooks. He's doing it one way, he and I are doing it a different way. Oh,
Well, he's in a different piece.
HDMI cable. You changed it, but he did it different. But anyway, we're back.
Wasn't going anywhere else.
Take that.
Okay, I'd like to take the floor for something important coming up, and let me see if I can find.
Take it away, Stan.
Sorry.
You're standing.
Our normal meeting on Sunday, Jolie, you asked about that. We've been meeting at the library just up the street. So the March meeting, March 8th, we can't meet there. They told us that because it's going to be primary voting, and they put machines in the room that we use. They've also been getting difficult to deal with in terms of if somebody else gets that room that we normally would use. There was a smaller room right across the aisle that we could use, and they're saying, no, we can't use that anymore. So we're considering moving from, we're definitely going to have the March 8th meeting there. We're considering moving all of the Sunday meetings to a new place, which is very close to here, an American Legion on Wells Avenue, and its address is available for that. So the March 8th meeting is going to be there, and I have talked about this at the previous TechSIG at the board meeting, and I went to the Apple SIG meeting last Monday. The meeting that's going to be coming up on the 8th is by someone who's spoken to us before, and I want to find that email.
Denise Perret. Denise Perret is her name.
Denise Perret. Ken is very familiar with her. Happens to be his daughter. She is a consultant. She does life coaching.
In banking.
Banking?
Yeah, she's a banking and credit consultant. Most of
I
it's
didn't know
teaching.
about that. I did know that she used to be a professional dancer, and she'll probably show us a few. Well,
Denise turned 55 this year. She's not dancing anymore.
Let me see if I can find it.
It didn't involve a pole, did it? No, and the reason was because there was they were skinny people.
Denise Perret, there it is. Denise 65. Okay, so here is a blurb. She says a certified leadership training professional will present an informative talk on social media basics, added detail on Facebook and Instagram. This is her second appearance with us, and if history is any indication, she is sure to provide a lively and entertaining evening. Actually, it's afternoon. But, so I'm really trying to urge, especially those of you, and there are a number who never make it to a Sunday meeting. And it's a great meeting, and we are considering not only moving the Sunday meetings, but also the TechSIG to that location. There are some advantages. It's,
You have a bar.
they have a bar. You can get a amber bock or a Bud Light, I guess, for $2. I'm not sure if it's a pint or a 14 ounce or whatever. But
That'd be better.
they have soda. They have soda. They don't have a restaurant style kitchen. You can't order normal, from a menu. But much like the Eagles and places like that, they will do certain things some nights. And they are very accommodating and working with us. Mike Leach has joined that organization, and Rod didn't make it tonight.
He has to go to Alabama. His mother's been sick.
So,
yeah.
So we don't have to pay for that. And if we order a little bit of stuff, and they also don't mind if somebody is coming to a TechSIG meeting and didn't have time, since they don't have a restaurant menu, you want to stop at a Burger King or a Sonny's Barbecue and bring a bag, they don't have a problem with that. I will comment, you can't bring any liquor in there because that would interfere with their liquor license. They could lose it. Since the board will be deciding what we're going to do with the main meeting, the TechSIG, since I'm the SIG chair, it's my decision whether we move or not. And I don't want to do it without a lot of input from you people. So those of you who don't come to Sunday meetings, Paul, you left, you didn't take the break when I said, why don't we all take a break? You missed part of my thing.
Microphone in.
I'll film it.
So one of the advantages, although I can't say we've had a problem with the Wi-Fi tonight. I've been on and everything has been working nicely, but the speed seems to be better over there. They're very accommodating. I hope to see a bunch of you at the March 8th meeting. And that kind of also ties in that I've talked to Jeff about this. It was the ISIG that was meeting Mondays at the Highway Safety Building on Colonial, which Sean's been running. And the FL MUG has decided that since they lost their ability to meet at the Scan Design Building on Douglas, they've merged into that. And, I went to that meeting, and it's a great meeting. So the Sunday meeting, what we normally do for you guys who don't normally come, the first half is a WinSig meeting with mostly Windows 10. Huey does it on Zoom from Bradenton. And much like I was, when I was listening to you guys talking about your Macs, I was this past Monday, that's not my cup of tea. So don't come for the first half, but come for the second half of East Bar A. Okay. Hopefully some of you can.
What's the name of the building? American Legion?
Yes, I'll get you the exact address and put in your notes.
It's pretty easy to find. You can actually see it from some of the other two. Those others.
Altamont?
No,
So it's Stern Park, really.
it's across from the Lowe's.
Real close to the fire station.
Yeah, so the same size as fire
There's
station.
a big sewing building, so
It's
Servac. Yeah, it's right behind that. You'll see it.
Are you moving it permanently or just for a few months?
We're moving there for the March meeting. The board has decided to not meet here anymore, but we're going to have a board meeting there.
And you're suggesting the TechSIG move there as well?
I am considering it. That's the whole
We
point.
could always move back here if it doesn't work out too.
And I hope I'm making it clear. I'm not going to make the decision myself, but I do want some input. And if we put a vote out there and somebody votes, no, I don't want to move, and hasn't been to the American Legion place, I may disqualify that vote.
Give it a try.
Well, you gotta go there
Come on the
first.
8th.
Give it a try. It's got a bar.
I can, but what it is members that go into any of these veteran posts, if you walk in and you're just a guest, you have to have a sponsor. And that sponsor needs to pay for your drink, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is not the case because of our relationship. Basically, by my being a member there, they're renting it to us, they call it rent, at no charge. And so I am, in a sense, the sponsor, and that's what allows us to go to the bar without having somebody, patch on the back, whatever I pay you.
Right.
The normal thing that you do in a veterans post, you have to have a sponsor and sign it, according to that. But we are the renters as it stands, but we're not paying you.
What's the facility like? Can you describe it?
Small. I guess,
Is it like the size of
square footage would be like.
Did they get their new tables and
sometimes
chairs?
Would you say about?
Did they get their new tables and chairs?
Yes,
Did they get that?
It'd be like a.
some are hot top, some are not.
I'm impressed that you removed the smoking. That's good.
Yeah,
There's no smoke.
There's a place to smoke outside on the porch behind the bar.
And they have a screen and a projector and stuff?
There's a white wall.
So we got to protect it. Yeah. It's a bigger venue than this.
Yeah.
Here's the address.
It's a nice,
yeah.
it's a nice quaint.
It's
I was
on the
impressed with it, except they have the smoking.
American Legion, have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's post 183, it's called.
And by the way, notice the address here says Castleberry. One of their cards says Castleberry. Another piece of literature says Altamont Springs. And if you Google it, it says Fern Park. So check that out.
Depends which post office they use.
All the same zip code though.
Yeah.
Every one of them, Altamont Springs says 32,
It's close.
730, so does Fern Park.
I live 2 or 3 blocks from Fern Park post office, but my mail comes all through Castleberry. It does in Fern Park.
I live
Okay. Is
2 or
your
3 blocks
website
from
up?
him and everything mine comes through me.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's a nice place.
It's a nice
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna see if I can't get a picture of the,
Yeah.
facility.
And what time, you say if you're a Macintosh person, you want to not listen to all the Windows talk, or you want to hit the second half of the meeting, what time is the second half?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
That's what I do. I don't care about
I will put, a lot of detail out in email to the both the TechSIG and the iSig, Apple SIG.
Oh, I see, 3 and 4. Is this 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock?
No.
That's what that says.
It from 3 to,
Oh, go down. Down, no, I mean, go up. Oh, I see, 4:45.
we make announcement, we have door prizes, we have an ask it basket, which is kind of go around the room and ask anybody if they have any questions.
So everything starts at 3.
Yes.
But if you don't want to listen to the Windows talk when they get there at 4.
Don't come at 1:30, because we'll have an hour and a half before you have people present.
Oh, 1:30 is when the Windows.
1:30 is when we start the meeting.
Ah, okay, got it.
I will have.
Okay, 3 o'clock. And they will have food to buy. Maybe.
Maybe.
Hot dogs.
I don't have beer at the bar,
What kind
soda.
of food selection do you have? What kind of food selection do you have?
Well, by that is there's no a la carte, there's no menu.
Okay.
Now, that's why if you feel that you really want to have something to eat, and I will check and find out, perhaps we could include that on a blast, if there's anything being served that day, which wouldn't be that unusual, because they do like to do things like that for the members and as well for us. So I can't say definitely at this point, but the thing is, if you really want to have something to eat, just BYO.
So if they're cooking lasagna, everyone gets lasagna.
Yeah. So.
Well, the library, you get nothing.
Yeah.
I go barbecue.
Yeah, I'm down to 15.
It was over the board meeting, give me for the beer orders.
Tax is only 10 pounds, that's all.
They could be fun over there.
Oh, yeah.
Like you say, you don't order a beer at the library.
That's true.
Anything else, Dan?
No. Who else? Anybody else got? Oh, Mike, you didn't get a chance to.
I don't have anything other than, as I say though, by trial, come over on the 8th, definitely so, just to try it out. And that way you know that should we decide to relocate the TechSIG, you'll know exactly what we're working with. And that's, encourage you to do that. That's the option, I would think, to do it, at least try it out.
I'm looking forward to the TechSIG beer. That's gonna be first.
Are we going in the side door? We're not going in that door.
The front door, that's power, that's, if you're on Wells Avenue, that's the place that you go in. Those doors, especially if you come at 3 o'clock, they'll be open. You can come through there. If you get there, maybe even at 1 o'clock, they won't be open. You have to go
To the left.
Left of that is an entrance that goes through the bar.
There it is back.
Let's see if there's any other photos. That's aerial. Photos.
And I think if you come off of 436 without turning on 1792, it actually has a different name.
Yeah, it does.
The street, it's like Lakeside or something.
Lakeside, exactly. If you're
Yeah.
coming on 436,
It changes
towards
names.
1792, you take a right at the very last place that you can. There's a brand new building going up there, and it changes the name from Lakeside to Wells Avenue.
It's the same street.
The guy that has rugs on sale, he's had them on sale for years.
what I do is I just go down to, I think it's Prairie View,
Yeah.
which is at the Shell or the Lowe's, near the fire station, and just come over and make the first right and go up. There's a large lot across from there that is under ownership of a member, and apparently at one time they had it signed that we couldn't park there, but as the fact that he's ownership, we can then use it, I think because of the road construction, but do not park and serve back in the Sioux. So whatever it is, they're nasty. They don't want you on their concrete. So don't go where they're concrete. So there.
So is it the same side of the street as Lowe's?
No, it's on the west side of 1792. Yeah. Use Lowe's as a reference point.
There's a attorney's building on the corner, you go to the first street at Anderson Motor Company, turn right, and it'll be a building there.
You see a big building that says Surbac across from close behind them.
Yeah, that's really one. Like you.
Here's a map, okay? Please look at the map. 1792 is here. Here's Lowe's.
I think I've been there.
If you come off of 436 down, if you take this Prairie Lake, there's a traffic light there. Cars, please. Prairie Lake is a traffic light. That's where the auto zone is. It's easy to make the turn, and then you come back up. There is the place. This Surbac and so is there. This is an empty lot. You can park there, you can park in front of it, or you can park around the back of it.
Mm-hmm. You can park behind the building.
It's real easy to get to if you're coming from I-4. The simplest way is to take 436 and then you take that lake view and it goes straight to the building. Okay, anybody else got any comments, questions? Did I leave anything out? There'll be plenty of emails about this, and you don't have to go. I'll start packing up. If anybody needs a computer, let me know now. Any more sites you want to go to?
You did get my email address, right?
I do. Sean puts out a very nice summary with links to all these places that we've been talking about. I'll get that to you after the fact. Okay. I think that it takes a while to get you on the. And by the way, Dick Vogel made a comment, if I can find it again. He said that he searched for something else that he wanted to pass along to you. He suggested you just search for ownership of files or something like that, and come up with
that's what we were talking about. Take ownership of. Yeah.
It seemed like he was saying he came up with something different than you did.
The result is the same. The site with the How-To Geek talks about the method of taking ownership using the batch file, and TechGeek gives you the links to both of the files. One takes ownership and the other releases it. So.
Thank you.
Well, I missed some of that conversation just because I was trying to get back.
Well, I'm sure you've worked on computers.
Of course.
And changed.
My thoughts.
Oh, okay.
I've been resisting coming up with total command. I haven't mentioned that at all. That's what I want. But the ownership, it bugs the hell out of me that when I go to save something, there are some programs that don't want to save it where I want to. They want to go someplace else. So I think that is something that I'll have to dig into at the sites.
You know, anytime you change the operating system and still use hard drives that have been set up in another operating system by somebody else's account or your old account, when you go to access the folders, Windows 10 will prompt you. You do not have access to these files. Do you wish to have access now? And you say yes. And in the majority, it'll do it. But in a situation like this, where it's a set of folders that have existed previously under a previous install, sometimes that doesn't work, and you have to actually run the little registry hack, and it takes ownership of everything.
It's confused.
Yeah.
Okay, well, glad you all made it.
And we'll see when this comes up. I'll post the video and we'll see how the audio is being here and not that big long boom microphone. You know, so we'll
That
see.
was very distracting.
It seems to be nice. It's just a question of getting the audio. Okay, now with that said, I'm going to end the meeting.
I got a set of YouTube. They were great for this. It don't show up on my, or the charts.
Yeah, yeah. I did some to.
Everything I do on YouTube, it's saved.
Photos, music, all
There's
of
nothing
it
saved
is
in
on
my
this.
iPad at all.